Hello and welcome to News from the Nations. We are so happy to have you here. My name is Heather and I am the marketing manager for Children of the Nations. If you're watching live from Facebook or YouTube, welcome. We're really happy to have you joining us today. News from the Nations is a weekly broadcast for Children of the Nations. And Children of the Nations is an organization where we help raise children who transform nations. We work with orphan and destitute children in 5 countries: Sierra Leone, Malawi, Uganda, Dominican Republic, and Haiti. We work with about 5,000 children in some of the most difficult places on earth. We work with kids coming through really tough circumstances, many formerly orphaned. We work to empower, uplift, and supply them with everything they need to succeed and help transform their nations. So here at News from the Nations, we share updates, we share news, we share stories of change, and this is the 25-year anniversary for Children of the Nations. So now more than ever, we are really happy to have you with us and watching our broadcast today. While you're here, take a chance, take an opportunity to follow us on Facebook. You can like us, you can follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We'll add those links to the chat room below so you can connect with us. If you are watching live, head to our chat room and let us know where you're watching live from. If it were me, I'd be saying I'm watching live from Seattle, Washington. We have 2 chat hosts in there today. We have Bryce and Fraser. Bryce has been with Children of the Nations for almost 2 years, and Fraser is going on 12 years with Children of the Nations, which is great. So they are there to answer questions for you, connect with you on stories. So Bryce and Fraser, say hi to everyone, and everyone say hi to Bryce and Fraser. And before we get into our show, one last thing, I want to invite you to share this episode of News from the Nations on your Facebook page right now so your friends and family can connect with us as well and see some of these great stories. We have some amazing stories today. You're not going to want to miss this. They're not going to want to miss this. So go ahead and click that share button. So without further ado, let's get into our episode this week on News from the Nations. Hello, welcome to News from the Nations. This is a live weekly broadcast with Children of the Nations where we are sharing the impact being made in the 5 countries where we serve. We're working with 5,000 children who maybe have been going through really rough, tough circumstances, many formerly orphaned, and we're working to help empower them, uplift them, supply them with everything they need to succeed and transform their own nations. We're so happy to have you here today. I'm Heather. I'm the marketing manager here at Children of the Nations. Today's show is going to be focused around something very important. It's a huge part of Children of the Nations, and that is sponsorship. Now, before we start, in the chat room, I want to know if you or someone you know sponsors a child. Type in what country you sponsor a child from. I'd love to see and hear where everyone is coming from. When you sponsor a child through Children of the Nations, you're helping provide that child with a daily meal, spiritual care, clean water, healthcare, education, counseling. You can literally transform a child's life. And here is a story to prove that. We're going to hear from Henry, and he has an incredibly moving story of life change after losing both of his parents, and we get to see just a glimpse of that story here.
My dad died when I was a few months old. I think I was about 5 years old when my mom died as well. Growing up, I didn't think God has a better plan for my life. I remember they telling me that I have a sponsor, they'll be sponsoring me and I can go to a private school. Wow, I felt like I was on top of the world because I knew things gonna be different, like for the rest of my life. I just thank God there's this place which is called home, which is Soutien.
Thank you for sharing your story, Henry. It is absolutely incredible to see how choosing to sponsor one child can literally transform that entire life. I mean, how uplifting was it to hear just that short little snippet of his story? I have one more story that I want to share with you as well from Francisco in Malawi, how his prayers were answered when Children of the Nations came into his life.
For transformation to happen, you're supposed to have people around you who are caring. My name is Francisco Kalima, and I work with Children of the Nations as a spiritual care coordinator. My life before COTN was a life that when I look back, I cry. I grew up with my mother without my dad, and living in that family was quite difficult. We were 3 in my family, and I promise you, having 1 meal a day was like Christmas for us. But many were the nights and we were sleeping without any meal. We were sleeping on the mat. I was not going to school. And when my mother died, it's when I cried to God and said, God, may you help me to have a future, to find a family that's going to take care of me, to find someone who's going to care for me. And I remember it's when God answered me. It's when COTN came to my life. It's when they say, Francisco, come. We want to keep you in our family. And after that, it's when I started going to school, having 3 meals a day, going to church, finding someone who is caring, finding someone who is there for me to make sure that I see a future. I went through secondary school with COTN. I went through college with COTN. And I'm telling you, when I joined COTN, things changed. It's when I saw that there is always a path for transformation to happen. Thank you so much, COTN, for what you have done to me. Thank you, COTN, for what you are doing to many and millions of children that are out there. And thank you, sports, as well, for what you're doing to make sure that you bring a change and you bring a transformation in somebody's story and even children from Africa and around the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Francisco, for sharing your story with us today. It is amazing, once again, to hear about the profound impact that sponsorship can have on the lives of these 2 men and their examples of complete transformation thanks to sponsorship. Now, if you want to sponsor a child or a university student today, there's going to be a link right now in the chat room. Sponsorship is life-changing, it's life-giving, it's an incredible selfless gift to give someone who desperately needs it. You can sponsor 1 child, 2, 5, 20 children. So check out the link in the chat room right now just to get more information, see our children's profiles, and see if sponsoring a child is something you would like to do today. Now, I do have another video for you, and it is an amazing one. The past couple of months have been really difficult due to this virus on everyone, and while things have been phasing into reopenings in the US, many countries, including the ones where we serve, are still in lockdown. And many are struggling for food and necessities, but because of your generous donations to our emergency health fund the past 6 weeks, we have an exciting video to show you of bags and bags of food being delivered in the Dominican Republic. Check it out. Thank you for sharing this time with us here at News from the Nations. Again, I want to invite you to sponsor a child today. You can help transform a life. and provide a child who may be living in a really tough place or dealing with really rough circumstances everything that they need to change the trajectory of their entire life. It's incredible, and I really encourage you to take a look at our sponsorship today. So, following along with our tradition, we are going to end our show with a little bit of joy. Here is one of my favorite videos. It always brings a smile to my face. Of course, this was taken before social distancing, but I know it's going to leave you feeling joyful. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next week on News from the Nations. Bye.